Hello, everyone. Hello, and thank you all for your attention, for participating in the stream. And as always, many thanks to all the members of our community who will join later on or will watch this video in a recording. Today is 14th of July, 9 o'clock in the evening, Moscow time, and this is a traditional Sunday live stream. Community chat, first of all, and there are also news summary. And well, I just checked, all programs are working, so I guess we can start. And yes, let's start. Hello again, and well, when it comes to news part of the live stream, I will go through my posts that I had on a Telegram, sorry, and also we can periodically check Russian media outlets on some maybe breaking news that may happen. We are living in quite a crazy time, so anything might happen at any time. And of course questions. Although, by the way, before I start, let me thank John and Henry for donations on PayPal, and also Look Through and Carlos Gaspar for donations on Boosty. Thank you very much, dear friends. And if I may, I will remind you that if you want to highlight some comment or question, you can send your question during the live stream through Boosty, this page here, through donation alerts, or through PayPal, by the way, and I will try to give you as informative answer as I possibly can. Links are on this video in the description box. And yes, let's talk about news now. And of course, when I wake up this morning, I was not ready to see this news about assassination attempt on Trump. It happened late night by Moscow time, and in European part, probably many people wake up to this shocking news. I will say somewhat shocking, because after all, me personally stressed several times during my updates that probably dozens of times even, that Trump should take care of his security, because it was so clear that this escalation or hatred or hostility from neolibs, from deep state towards Trump, and whatever groups are behind him, was intensifying. And at some point, I mean, they tried character assassination. They failed. They tried bankrupt him. They failed. They tried to jail him. They failed. So what is left? They tried to take him out. And yes, at this point, we cannot say that this individual, this 20-year-old psycho that opened fire on Trump, was a part of some wider plot. We don't have evidences to say so, but yet again, as I spoke this morning in an update, there's too many questions, just too many questions that definitely needs to be answered. I mean, basic ones is that how come that this shooter was able to take position in a rooftop some 150 meters away from venue where Trump was giving a speech. I will never believe that U.S. Secret Services are so incompetent that they did not knew that rooftops should be secured. So something went wrong there, big time. And for whatever reason, yet again, we need the investigation to happen, and we need some answers. But for whatever reason, this rooftop was not secure, and shooter was able to open fire. And by the way, also I paid attention, and many of you also, I think, that sniper team of the Secret Service in seconds managed to identify location of that shooter and take him out. In seconds, literally. Well, questions are rising. Did they really, I mean, find this guy randomly just in a second or two, or maybe they knew where to looking for? I don't know, man. Maybe, you know, maybe somehow, someday we will receive some answers, but, well, and this is video, by the way.
Take a look at what happened.
Quite long video. So after shooting occur, of course, security services jump in to secure Trump. At some point they are saying shooter is down or something, so they knew shooter was neutralized. And by the way, look at this scene now. I guess he was saying fight, 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 and it is quite and then people are chanting USA, USA. So it is quite something, isn't it, that Trump, after this extreme situation, was able to focus. He did not lose it. He was focused, and he was still addressing the crowd around him, which is well, quite a skill to have when in extreme situations you are still concentrated. So yes, that's something to be noticed, I guess, because vast majority of the people probably will lose it, and they will just let security services, as Alex Christoforou said today, by the way, in his update, vast majority of the people probably will just stay as low as possible and let security take care of him, take care of the situation. But Trump went to, address with a few words crowd. So yes, that's quite something. And of course, many of you probably did see this picture when this shooter was neutralized. 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Crooks. This information was confirmed by FBI, as I understand. Person was identified. So yes, I mean, this is crazy. So many questions. How it even happened? Why, after all, why Trump was giving a speech without these bulletproof glasses up front of him and on sides? It's not nuclear science, after all. There are many occasions when public figures, politicians, and not just politicians, are using that bulletproof glass to be more secure. And because Trump was under high risk for many reasons, security services should establish that bulletproof fence on the venue also. So I mean, many questions, by the way. I read the comments under my first video, and many members of our community also pointing out a huge failure on the part of secret services. And yet again, I don't think those people in secret services are this incompetent that they did not know that they have to secure rooftops in immediate vicinity of the venue. I mean, it's just the basics, isn't it? As far as I understand. Why these bulletproof glasses were not deployed, I have no idea. I mean, many questions, and of course, I saw some videos, by the way, when and this is video when this individual was neutralized. You can see some weapons on the roof there, and this is Trump is returned to New Jersey, so he's okay. He received minor injuries, one may say, but I mean, yet again, he was an inch away. He was a centimeter away, by the way, from certain death. I don't think anybody is able to. I mean, maybe there are some miracles, but headshots usually are fatal. So, U.S. was, and this is episode when sniper team of the Secret Services opened fire.
If you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
So, and also, by the way, many rumors are circulating now. Some saying there was two shooters, not one. I did not see any confirmation of that information. There was two shooters, but I mean, who knows? Anything is possible, really. And Trump should take care of his security for sure, because he is a priority target for many. And because Secret Services compromised themselves, I think it will be just logical to ask private military companies for security, because U.S. Secret Services, they are not protecting. They are not willingly or unwillingly, but they were not on the top of the game, for sure. And dear friends, now, let me check. Periodically, I will check, by the way, Boosty and the donation alerts to make sure that I'm not gonna miss any questions from members of our community. And meanwhile, I have some questions that I receive through Patreon, through Boosty, and Q&A. I will start Q&A part with these questions. For example, Joseph Roy is asking Levan, is it difficult for an American with a Russian family to move to Russia? Joseph, it's not easy. It's not easy. If your family members are born in Russia or in Soviet Union, then they can, and if they don't have Russian citizenship at this point, they can ask for citizenship and they will get Russian citizenship. Easy way. It's much easier if you have been citizen in the past, or if you were born in Russia or in Soviet Union. And once they will get citizenship, then you as a member, family member, also can get citizenship with lesser bureaucracy. There will still be some bureaucratic steps to overcome, because immigration, it's not easy in any country. It's just US that has opened southern border, but many countries usually are, putting up some bureaucratic obstacles. There are checks and it's a time consuming stuff. But it is possible. It is possible. You're not gonna get citizenship straight away. It will take time. On initial stages, you will get a resident permit, so that you will be able to live and work in Russia. And after 3 years, after 3 to 5 years, it might be, it might depend on circumstances. Most likely, after 3 years, you will be eligible to apply for citizenship, and most likely you will be granted with the citizenship. And if your family members are Russian citizens right now, it's even easier. It's even easier. As a member of the family, you can apply for Russian citizenship, but yet again, you're not gonna receive straight away citizenship. only Russian president can granted citizenship this fast, and Vladimir Putin did granted Russian citizenship to some people in the past term, some famous people, non-famous people. It happens. It happens. The Russian president does this, but usually it's quite time-consuming process, but doable. Many families from US, from Canada, from Australia, from European states also moving into Russia, and their number is increasing. Year on year terms, and I think just give it 3 to 5 years. By the way, we may see tsunami wave kind of movement especially from the Western states towards Russia. Because after all, we may speak different languages, but in many ways we have a more or less similar way of life, or more or less similar culture. So it's much easier for Westerners to integrate into Russian society. Of course, you need to learn language, and that's also going to be somewhat obstacle that you have to overcome, because according to some, Russian language is one of the hardest one to learn. It was not hard for me because I learned it when I was kid, together with the Georgian and Assassination. So I learned these 3 languages almost simultaneously. But yes, some say that to learn Russian it's kind of difficult. So you need to overcome that obstacle once you will get to Russia. But it's also doable, by the way. There is a channels on YouTube. There is a wonderful Canadian family, by the way, Australian family, Canadians also, by the way, and there is a wonderful Australian family, by the way. They moved here at this point like a few years ago already, and as I said, it was not easy. They were overcoming these bureaucratic obstacles, and I was happy for them when they receive permanent residency, for example. And they are doing okay. And they are trying to learn Russian, and they have quite good progress. In 2 years, they have quite good progress. By the way, they speak Russian with accent, and but it's okay. I speak English with accent, and what, as long as we can understand each other, it's good, isn't it? So that's my answer, dear friend. If you want to learn more details how to emigrate, it's better to ask to communicate with the consulate of Russia in your country. So they will probably provide their detailed information, what steps you need to take for immigration. And as I said, dear friends, just recently there was Maria Zakharova, official representative of the Russian Foreign Ministry, who said that there is a huge number of applications, by the way, of the people who want to immigrate in Russia. So, as I said, if you are convinced you want to do this, do it now, because, as I said, give it 3-5 years, and it's gonna be a tsunami, by the way. Hundreds of thousands, in my personal opinion, hundreds of thousands of people will immigrate to Russia from the West. I'm quite sure about it, by the way, because if I was a US citizen, for example, let's say, and if I was not happy with situation, and I would be not happy, by the way, just take a look at this propaganda of the so-called neolibs, by the way, and the level of indoctrination that they are forcing upon people, including youngsters, children, by the way. They are trying to indoctrinate even children in the kindergartens. I would be angry on that, by the way, and because it's almost, it is difficult to deal with that system, right? I will definitely think to move my family to a place where family values, traditional values are respected and welcomed, and Russia will be obvious choice. So that's why I think there will be big wave of immigration of the citizens of the Western world towards Russia. I hope I give a informative enough answer. It's not easy, but it's doable. But you should be ready because, as I said, man, immigration is not easy stuff. It's time consuming, nerve consuming. So you should be ready, but it's doable. And many people do. Also, by the way, I had a question from Candide Schmiles on Boosty. Another question about Georgia. Are there autonomous regions of Georgia, Abkhazia, South Ossetia, and Adjaria determined to stay independent, or is there mood to be part of the Russian Federation? Well, Adjaria is never declared any independence from Georgia. Adjarian Autonomous Republic is a part of Georgia, and the vast majority of the population there are Georgians, ethnic Georgians. And Adjaria separatism never was a real thing in Adjaria. There might be some few extremists, literally few extremists, that were, pushing some crazy ideas in Adjaria, but it's, as I said, it's just exceptions. So issue of separatism was never relevant in Adjaria. It's autonomous republic. It's autonomous because of the Kars agreement between Russia and Turkey. Somehow, I don't know exact year. I cannot remember now, but it's more than 100 years, I believe. When Russian Empire returned to Georgia, Adjaria, and also some Geopolitical regions that was occupied by Ottoman Empire for centuries, by the way. Adjaria was under rule of Ottoman Empire for 300 years. And under that agreement that Russia reached with the Ottoman Empire, after bloody war in which Russia defeated basically Ottoman Empire, Turkey recognized Adjaria and Samtskhe Javakheti as a part of Russian Empire. Those territories were returned to Georgia, which was a part of Russian Empire. Although Turkey Turkey demanded that Adjaria will maintain some sort of autonomy, and Turkey will have a right to intervene if this region is threatened by some outside forces. And that agreement, Kars agreement, I think still in force. Still in force now. So that's why Adjaria has autonomy. Otherwise, Adjarian people, they are Georgian people, by the way. They are ethnic Georgians, 99%. I mean, and therefore, and let me show you on the map, dear friends, so that just a sec. It will take a couple of seconds to open this map. So therefore, separatism was never issue in Adjaria. So that's Georgia, by the way, of course. This is Adjaria here, that bordering Turkey. I mean, if we zoom out, this is Turkey, of course, and this area is Adjaria Autonomous Republic. So yes, that's when it comes to Adjaria. No separatism issue there. No issues at all. It's a wonderful place, by the way, if you want to go and visit Georgia. I mean, you're gonna love it, obviously. There is many wonderful places, and Adjaria also, by the way. It's a seaside, also it has mountain resorts, so you're gonna love it there. When it comes to Abkhazia and South Ossetia, by the way, this is Abkhazia here, that is bordering Russia, and this is South Ossetia, that also bordering Russia. That's this is a whole different story, because there was there was military conflict, unfortunately, on ethnic grounds, and last time conflict erupted in South Ossetia when at the time Georgia's president Mikhail Saakashvili authorized military operation. I believe Saakashvili was acting in 2008. That happened in August of 2008. I believe Saakashvili was acting under orders. I don't really need this no more. So I believe Saakashvili was acting on the orders of the US CIA, Washington, CIA, and the Pentagon, and their main goal, orders for the Saakashvili, was to provoke a conflict with Russia. This is my reading of the situation, because on 7th of August of 2008, Saakashvili ordered Georgian troops to open fire with heavy artillery, with everything they got, basically, on Tskhinvali, capital of South Ossetia, on some other settlements. It was broadcasted on TV, by the way. It was broadcasted live on TV. And this was about half past 11 in the evening, local time, Tbilisi time. And next day, Russia did not get involved militarily after this bombing campaign that took place, that started on 7th of August. And therefore, I believe Saakashvili ordered, and his inner circle, they ordered fire to be opened on Russian peacekeepers on 8th of August. Why? To provoke reaction of the Moscow, not to leave any chances to then President of Russia, Dmitry Medvedev, to stay out of this conflict in military terms. And once Russian peacekeepers that had the UN mandate were killed in South Ossetia, and they had no chances, obviously, against the heavily armored units of the Georgian army, because they were peacekeepers. They were lightly armed units. And base of peacekeepers were totally destroyed. It was under direct tank fire, artillery fire. It was mayhem there. And once peacekeepers were killed then of course Moscow had no option but to get involved militarily, and Russia did exactly that. Conflict between Georgia and Russia in 2008 lasted just for a few days. Some argue it was 4-day war, some argue it was 5-day war. Unfortunately, very unfortunate that this conflict happened at all. But eventually Russian side, Moscow decided to recognize independence of the South Ossetia and Abkhazia, then signed with the republics bilateral agreements about security, so that Russia will have a legal means to deploy its military bases into these regions on permanent terms. And that's the status of the situation right now. Russia recognized these regions and there is Russian permanent bases in South Ossetia and Abkhazia. When it comes to aspirations of the people of the South Ossetia and Abkhazia, well, that's quite complicated stuff also, because South Ossetia, by the way, located here, and this is North Ossetia. North Ossetia is a part of Russian Federation. This region joined Russia. They basically asked Russia to be received into the empire. This happened about 200 years ago. Families, Ossetian families, get together. They discuss the situation, and they come up with the idea to send ambassadors to then Russian Imperatrica. How you say Imperatrica? It was Imperatrica, I believe, at the time. So they sent their invoice to St. Petersburg, it was, I believe, and asked her, female emperor at the time was a female empress. I cannot say that word, by the way. So you understand what I mean, isn't it? They sent the invoice, and the Russian leader at the time said, okay, we will receive you into Russian Empire, and the rest of it is a story. That was a bigger one of the best decisions that families could make at the time, Ossetian families, because there was only tens of thousands of Ossetians left, and they are, by the way, descendants of the Alans, Sarmatians, Scytho-Sarmatian civilization. Only people on the Caucasus region that are speaking Iranic language. Ossetian language is part of Iranic language family, of the Indo-European language family. And right now, Ossetians, as a result of integrating into Russia, Ossetians are proud Russians, and they are almost a million. Not there yet, but nation is definitely not under danger of disappearing. And Russian Federation spends a lot of money, by the way, to maintain culture, tradition, language of Ossetia. It's not just local governments that are spending on this, but federal government, by the way, also spends a lot. It's a case in every republic, by the way. It's not just Ossetia, but Ossetia also. And republic is safe and on its way towards huge success, I believe. And my point is that South Ossetians, because it's one people, isn't it? South Ossetians, North Ossetians, they are one people, they speak one language, and they want to join Russia. Yes, there was several referendums, I believe, in South Ossetia, and the vast majority of the locals said, yes, we want to unite with North Ossetia, North Ossetia Alania Republic, which is Russia. In Abkhazia, by the way, situation is a little different. I'm not quite sure. Abkhazian population there, local population, is very much for integrating with Russia. I just don't have a date, numbers right now on my hands. I cannot remember when, if there was even a referendum in Abkhazia or plebiscite or something to find out opinion of the people. Do they want to join Russia or not? Of course, Russia is a big supporter, and without Russia, this region will be in big trouble. But yes, I'm not quite sure about Abkhazians, by the way. Although one should keep in mind that Georgia never recognized independence of South Ossetia and Abkhazia, and due to the fact that Russia recognized these two republics, independence of these republics, now Tbilisi and Moscow have significant difficulties in relationship, and therefore I think all sides needs to come up with some solutions how situation can be resolved for benefit of all sides. And that's why I said many times before, by the way, that in my personal opinion, and I'm maintaining this opinion for decades now, long before 2008 war, that Tbilisi, Tskhinvali, and Sukhumi, they should get together in a confederation. They should start discussing at least possibility that they can get united under the umbrella of new state confederation, which will allow sides to resolve. If not all, then vast majority of their issues, including return of the refugees, compensations, many other things. By the way, it's a very complicated topic, obviously. And if sides will manage to unite under the confederation umbrella with, let's say, moratorium. My idea was, let's get together in confederation with moratorium on leaving confederation for, let's say, 10 or 15 years, with automatic prolongation of this moratorium for another 10 years if all sides are okay with it. And I was quite sure, and I'm convinced right now also, that if you give 20-25 years potentially of their peaceful cohabitation and the peaceful development to the peoples of Abkhazia, South Ossetia, and Georgia, I'm quite sure they will maintain this confederation. They will maintain this confederation. I'm convinced about that. And this will finally end this tragic conflict that had happened between Georgia and South Ossetia and Georgia and Abkhazia, and this will allow Tbilisi and Moscow to resolve their issues that they have, because Moscow will recognize this new state confederation, and that will be it. Moscow will not have to recall any recognition of Abkhazia and South Ossetia. Just new confederation will be recognized, and therefore fundamental barriers in relationship between the Georgia and Moscow, majority of them will be resolved, and that will give Georgia great opportunity to develop further develop relationships with Russia, because I believe majority of society in Georgia and the ruling party in Georgia are for now realizing that Western ruling class not their friends. I was saying this for decades, but no one was listening when I was living in Georgia and working as a journalist. But I guess they needed some time to grow up and to better understand what the hell was going on in and around Georgia, and especially in relationships with the Western ruling class. And now it is more and more obvious for many people there that Western ruling class is not friend to nobody, and Georgia not being exception. So if this realization is in place, then they will realize that in best interest of Georgian society, best interest of Georgia is to maintain good working relationships with Russia, and at some point maybe to reach a level of strategic partnership. So that's my answer, dear friend. Hopefully you will find it informative enough. So very complicated topic, obviously. Any conflict is complicated, undoubtedly. And dear friends, I also had a question. From Yaroslav Pelicek on Patreon. And first question is about F-35s. Yaroslav is asking, are F-35s good to anything except tossing B-61 nuclear bombs? Well, you know my take, Yaroslav, on F-35s. I think this is the most expensive and most useless, if you take into account how much money was spent on this project, most useless plane ever built in US, because F-16s can do the job. No any Western F-35s. Yes, they are supposed to be stealth planes, but with modern technologies, idea of stealth is clearly losing its importance. It's not that crucial at this point, and therefore I think yes, F-35s are just a total waste of money, really, because you can, in Czech Republic, for example, I mean, if you buy, let's say, Swedish Saab Gripen planes, latest generation, you will be able to conduct any operations that F-35s can. And simultaneously, by the way, F-35s are not dogfighters. They will struggle in air-to-air combat, while Saab Gripens are quite capable, according to numbers, by the way, according to data that is available on internet. Saab Gripens should be very capable fighter jets also, not just ground attack planes with capabilities of ground attack, but also air-to-air fighters, like F-16s are, by the way, like F-15s are. Certain modifications of the F-15s, because in general, F-15 was created as an air superiority fighter, and it's one of the greatest fighters ever built, obviously, F-15s. And one of the most successful, if not the most successful, fighter jet in terms of kill ratio. So that's my answer on that topic, dear friend. Or there was also a question about and by the way, when it comes to F-35s, one should keep in mind that even before F-35 started to be produced in mass, there was an idea that was circulating in the West to basically produce thousands of those planes. And question is how? How Lockheed Martin I believe it's Lockheed Martin which produces these F-35s. How Lockheed Martin or Pentagon knew that they're gonna sell this many planes? And now they are producing those F-35s like hot cookies. Really, I mean, huge number of those planes being produced, hundreds of them. And the point is that Washington is forcing NATO member states to buy these planes. That's all it is. And maybe Czech Republic will be forced also, and maybe already been forced, and maybe Prague already signed up for a deal to buy thousands of F-35s that they don't really need, really, because that's what Washington does, by the way. Political class in US, they are servants of the military-industrial complex in large, and same can be said about Pentagon. And I mean, they are forcing countries left and right in the NATO to purchase F-35s, even though there is a better deals out there. But that's the level of influence of Washington, you know. Also, Yaroslav was asking about Russian police special forces, well, as everywhere, as in US, for example, in every city there is a SWAT team, in every big city at least. Here in Russia, in every big city, in every region, there are also special forces of the police, and they have all different names. They have all different names. Dozens and dozens of these special forces units are formed all over Russia when and they are conducting operations in in situations when there is some hostages or some criminals have to be taken out, or that kind of stuff, when it's dangerous, extremely dangerous situations. That's usually when special forces are deployed, right? So yes, in Russia there is dozens of units of the special forces of the police, and I'm not gonna start sharing names of those units, because as I said, there's too many. It's just about everywhere, in every big city, in every region. So it's like SWAT teams in US police, and SWATs are also everywhere, isn't it? There in every big city. So that's my answer. When it comes to some special forces that are related with the police that everybody knows about, of course, it's Red Berets, Krapovy Berety. It's a force of Rosguardia now, but it used to be forces of the internal Ministry of Internal Affairs. Now they called Rosguardia. And I mean, worldwide, people that are interested in military stuff, they know Krapovy Berety, they know this Red Berets. And they are very capable force, by the way, obviously, but they still are not a military. They are militarized force, but they are not as heavily armed as military formations, army units, for example. And recently there was even discussions in the parliament, I believe, that some MPs wanted to rearm Rosguardia in a way that they would be, comparable to army units. So they will have tanks, heavy personal carriers, and so on. But I don't know if decision was made on that. I can't remember now. So that's the difference, main difference between Rosguardia units and the army units. That army has all the heavy equipment, all the weapons, and Rosguardia is still lightly armed formations, although very capable, obviously. And dear friends, also a question in the chat. Oh, let me check, by the way. Boosty and donation alerts. Nothing on Boosty and nothing on donation alerts. So how many of us are on the stream? 104. Great. Thank you all, dear friends, for participating in this stream. And yes, let's go through some questions in the chat. After all, this is first of all community chat, and only then news summary, because we all read and watch and listen to plenty of news. This is unique opportunity to have exchange of opinions in real time. So let's go through some questions on chat. So question from Nidish Kumar: how much does it cost to maintain a military base in a foreign country? Wow, that's I don't. That's quite a question that needs some specific knowledge. All I can say, it must be expensive. It must be expensive. It depends military base of which country. Because U.S. military bases probably cost like I don't know, significantly more than let's say Russian military bases, because after all, Pentagon buys nails for like 100% or 100 times more price than it will cost in, I don't know, in a store. And because of this extreme level of corruption in Pentagon, after all, they are unable to account for trillions, isn't it? They are unable to account for 2 trillions, if I remember correctly, which is unbelievable. But Pentagon cannot point out where those trillions went. Nothing to be said about this immensely inflated budget of the Pentagon of 700 to 800 billion every single year. So in that regard, of course, US bases will probably cost more than bases of any other country. But exact cost are difficult to say. I still remember, by the way, when there was reports about Afghanistan, when US militaries build some gas station, by the way, gas station for $50 million. Gas station that could be built for like, I don't know, $100,000. Okay, $200,000. They build it for 50 million. Can you imagine? I mean, level of corruption, by the way. How much money have been stolen from the people through these dodgy schemes that Pentagon is employing, And who knows how many that kind of gas stations were built, Not one, not two, probably dozens. And as I said, man, if you want to buy even nail, Pentagon probably buys nail that costs 10 cents for, I don't know, $10, for example. So of course, cost of maintenance of the US bases probably are unimaginably high. Questions. So Bencher Dent is asking, IDF claims of striking an underground drone factory in the Iran. Is it so? In Iran, I don't know different. In Russian media, I did not see any such news. I mean, we can check right now, by the way. This is RIA Novosti, for example. This is Vzglyad newspaper. And no news about Iran. And if this happened today or tomorrow, I will definitely, all media outlets probably will write about it here in Russia, and I would not miss it. But no, I mean, top news in Russian media is of course this failed assassination attempt on Trump. But I don't know, dear friends. I mean, maybe there was a strike, but I mean, Russian media didn't report about it, so difficult to say. Difficult to say. I don't think so, really. Because you're not gonna be able to hide. Why would Iran hide this information then, right? That underground factory was targeted in Iran, on Iranian soil. They will do information, probably would be reported about it, and then of course Russian media will also pay attention to it. Let's continue. Jack Hudson, hello Jack, is commenting how many of 35s are ready at all times. 35, yes, around 35%. I still remember when head of Pentagon was in it was Congress or Senate, when he was asked about exactly this topic, and Lloyd Austin confirmed that it's only around like 30-35%. I cannot remember exact number, but it was this low, 30-35% of F-35s that are ready to conduct operations. I mean, this is unbelievable. This is unbelievable. Planes cost, program of F-35 already cost like 1.5 trillion, if not more. And maintenance of those planes and for the production will cost US taxpayers another 1.5 to 2 trillions in next 2 decades. And same time, maintenance cost is unbelievable, and still, by the way, only 30-35% of these immensely expensive planes are battle ready at any point, which is I don't know, man. It don't make any sense to me personally. Maybe I don't understand something, but I would expect some at least 60-70% of fleet to be ready to take action. Of course, planes constantly need some work to be done on them, but I mean, at least 60-70% of planes should be ready to take action. I mean, 30-35% seems just unbelievably low to me, but yet again, I'm no military expert, so how should I know? But you know. Maria Palmar is commenting, are the F-35s not incredibly unreliable? Yes, they have this issue of unreliability because of their over-engineering from the Lockheed Martin, I believe. I mean, let me check. I want to make sure that the F-35s are produced by Lockheed Martin. Lockheed Martin, yes. It is produced by Lockheed Martin, this giant of military-industrial complex of the US, and those planes are over-engineered, by the way, and this is done on purpose. It's not just these planes, but almost everything that US military-industrial complex is producing is over-engineered. You know why? Because of high maintenance cost on that. These companies are making money not just selling those weapons to Pentagon, but also on maintenance. And the more over-engineered your equipment is, more chances are that it will need constant work on something there. And F-35 is a prime example of that. That's why they're constantly suffering, you know. Some programs are not working, some indicators, this and that, and these immensely expensive helmets that almost killed several pilots, by the way, because they were unable to breathe, you know. So that's that over engineering done on purpose also to make more money of maintenance work, and they still are incredibly unreliable, man. I mean, 35%, it's crazy, man. Also is commenting, unfortunately Finland decided to take F-35s. It's I believe Helsinki was forced to do it, by the way. That's what Washington does. I spoke about it. They force everybody in NATO to buy F-35s. there is any need in those planes or not, Washington is not asking. They are forcing those countries to spend a few billion of taxpayers' money to further enrich Lockheed Martin. That's what it is. You know, this is kind of tax. This is tax from US. You know, pay or or else. That's all it is really. And Finland is no exception. That is every other country, by the way, every country, almost every country in NATO are buying F-35s, even though there are much better alternatives on the market. I mentioned the latest variations of F-15s are, by the way, I mean, great planes. Latest variations of F-16s are, by the way, great, immensely capable planes. French Rafale planes are very capable, isn't it? Swedish Saab Gripen planes are capable. But NATO member states are forced to buy these F-35s, by the way. I don't know. They will pay a few billion to purchase those planes, and they will pay then constantly, year-on-year terms, hundreds of millions of dollars for maintenance. You know, it's a good business for Lockheed Martin, man. Good business. Nidish Kumar is commenting, wow, can everyone represent their country names, please? I think we got widest range of audience today. Oh, that's a great idea. We really are from all around the world, from Australia and New Zealand to India, to Global South in general, Europe, South America, North America. Questions? I see question. Buncher Dent is commenting. It was a covert strike with the Mossad agents. I mean, we just checked. Russian media didn't report about it. Maybe for tomorrow there will be some reports, or maybe some Telegram channels will report about it, and I will spoke on that topic in tomorrow's first update. Thank you for information. I did not know this because, as I said, Russian media did not report on that. Bigger Liver is commenting, I have a question. Living very close to Amsterdam, I'm used to smoke a joint now and then. What about smoking a joint at home in Russia? Thanks. Well, in Russia, situation is not like in Amsterdam for sure. If you will smoke joint in your apartment, and if you will just have a few grams of marijuana, probably you would not be arrested. You may get fined if somehow police find out about it. But if you arrested on a street, for example, for whatever, if you were stopped on the street with the joint in your hand, or if you were smoking on the street, and if you had more than a very little amount for just one joint, then you may get in big trouble. It's not legalized in Russia, by the way. And if you have a small amount, most likely you will pay fine. But if you have more than one joint, then it is possible that you will get in jail. I don't know exact proportions. I mean, law is very specific, isn't it? I mean, what amount counts for personal use and what amount did not. But in general, by the way, overall, it's better to stay away from drugs. Any drugs. Here in Russia, at least. I mean, I don't know about other countries, but here in Russia, better to stay away from any drugs at all. Just don't do it. That's my answer. So I know Amsterdam is different, very different, and the people are traveling. It's a tourism industry based on that, even, isn't it? People are traveling to Amsterdam to get high and that kind of stuff, but not here, not in Russia, by the way. And dear friends, sorry if I miss any questions. No drugs in the world at all is best. I agree with you, Nidish. I mean, drugs are never good for anybody, really. Only if for medical purposes, if it's a medicine, that's a whole different story. But that's it, really. I mean, if you want to get rest, take a pint of beer or glass of whiskey or something. Wine. I mean, glass of nice red wine in the evening also great. Whatever you like, but just stay away from drugs, man. It's never okay. In my personal opinion, I know worldwide there is different opinions on that, so And dear friends, let me check once again. Nothing here and nothing here. Is Boosty working at all? I cannot refresh this site. Am I online? Yes, I am. So maybe Boosty has some issues because it refreshed now. Okay, it's working. So nothing here, and let's continue then with some Telegram reports. And by the way, it's already more than an hour, and I will go through some quickly through some posts on Telegram, and I will end this live stream little early maybe, because it's a finals today, isn't it? European Championships final in football. It's England and Spain, isn't it? In the final. So it's gonna be big football day. And well, this is, by the way, strike. This is strike at a point of concentration of Kiev regime forces in Pechistovka settlement. Well, quite precise strike. Quite precise strike. Bobby Kennedy made a comment on this assassination attempt of Trump, and he was very critical of secret services. Understandably so. Many comments, by the way, under my first update today on other channels are very critical of U.S. secret services. Some people are in disbelief. Jack Hudson. I read recently China exports 40% of semiconductors to US for high-tech weapons, and we want to fight them. Thank you very much, Jack, for your donation and for your support. For a question, today in the morning's update, I mentioned 6 US companies that were sanctioned by China for providing weapons to Taiwan. And as you mentioned, US companies, some may don't realize that US companies are also heavily dependent on Chinese manufacturers, including in terms of semiconductors and some other stuff that is used then by US military industrial complex in their weapon systems. So yes, I mean, this entanglement of the world's leading economies are so high that any serious disruption between the countries may cause mayhem in the world market, in world economy, that will damage interests of everybody. And you are saying you are absolutely correct, Jack. I believe there is no reasonable explanation why should the US and China be enemies. Why should US and Russia should be enemies? We should not. This world is big enough for everybody, isn't it? And I mean, competition is a great stuff. Let's compete, in a good way, and don't take each other as a kind of enemies. But yet again, attitude of the Western ruling class is very different, isn't it? These groups that are running the show in the West, it's a generational families and clans, isn't it? And they are not used to respect anybody. They are not used to take opinion of anybody. And that's the issue, I believe. This is the problem. Because they want to dominate this world. They want to be only force with whom rest of the world should reckon. And this is not happening. World is changing rapidly, and countries are fed up really with these Western dominations. Understandably so, by the way. So issue, I believe, that's why I'm saying, but the Western ruling elites, these are evil force, really evil force. They are pushing humanity towards total disaster, while we don't have to move that direction. We are not enemies, we are humans, for God's sake. We should respect each other, and we should be able to live in peace. All of us. But tell this to those people that are pulling the strings in the West. I mean, they don't care about any of us, by the way. It's not matter for them you are citizen of which country. They don't care about any of us. All they care is to maintain their dominant position and rule the world. That's all. And I don't even know how we can deal with those people. I mean, only way is to, I mean, Western societies to wake up and act on this situation. But will they wake up? Yes, there is a informed minority in all Western states, but I mean, majority needs to be wake up, because minorities are unfortunately not able to battle this constant propaganda of the Western ruling class, and people are still sleeping in deep sleep, and they see some crap on CNN or BBC or whatever, and they believe in that, whatever propaganda they are receiving. So Jack Hudson is commenting, US politicians either are ignorant or this fact don't give a damn about us, or both. Probably both. They are ignorant and they don't care about any of us, that's for sure. I mean, for them we are probably some workforce that can be used. That's probably how they see us, people. But they clearly have no respect for any of us, by the way. That's just too obvious. Nidish Kumar is commenting, US sanctioned a letter company in India by saying it has a dual usable items for military. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. Western ruling class is going crazy on daily basis, by the way. And it's on. I mean, if you think about it, it's not going to be a big group of people, isn't it, that are pulling the strings? It's just, I don't know, maybe a couple of hundred people that are on top of that pyramid of the power. And those maximum few hundred people are pushing this world towards total disaster. How is this even possible, man? But, Big Liver is commenting, please, Levan, your opinion on MH17, or did I missed it? MH17 is a plane that was lost in Global South. Is that plane, or you are talking about plane that was shot down over the Donbass. I cannot remember. MH17 was probably plane that was missed, get lost in a global south, isn't it? And I mean, I don't really have strong opinion on that situation. I see several videos, some investigations on the topic from independent groups. There's some mysterious stuff is going on there, but I just don't know, really. There are talks that there was on the board of that plane, there was some top scientists in certain areas. And that's why plane was, end up in a story. It's a Donbass. It's Donbass. So yes, there was a one plane story in Global South. All of you remember, I guess, there was some years ago when plane just disappeared without any trail. That's the story that I was talking about. And when it comes to Donbass, plane that was shut down, I blame Kyiv regime, by the way, on that, and I blame Western ruling class. First of all, skies over the Ukraine should be no-fly area, should be closed for civilian aircraft because it was a zone of active work of air defense systems. It's just too obvious, isn't it? But Western ruling class and Kyiv regime, for whatever reason, did not shut down the sky. And when it comes to this plane itself, catastrophe, Russian side is claiming that it was a Kyiv regime that shut down this plane. So I was not there, and therefore I can only take information that is available here. It was a Kyiv regime. Kyiv regime is responsible in any ways, because sky should be shut down for civilian aircrafts. But yet again, Moscow was very clear that Russia has nothing to do with this tragedy, and that's how it is. Levan did speaking the truth too. Is commenting Levan did US. Although, by the way, of course, I was not there in Donbass, and I was not watching who put finger on the button to launch this missile. It's also understandable, but I have to go. I cannot trust Western ruling class or Kyiv regime ever, and therefore I have to go with the official Russian position, because Russian leadership are much more trustworthy if it comes to comparison of two or three US ruling class or Western ruling class, Kyiv regime and the Russian leadership. Then Russian leadership are much more trustworthy than those. So there is not really a choice there. You have to go with the information that Russian side is sharing, because you cannot trust Kyiv regime ever. It's just not possible. Speaking the truth is commenting that Levan, did the US Major General got killed with many NATO mercenaries in a Russian missile attack on Kyiv recently? I don't know. There are rumors that in Giuliani airfield area, command and control center was destroyed. Not just air defense system battery was destroyed, but also command and control center of the Kyiv regime and foreign mercenaries or foreign troops, basically NATO troops. But who exactly, was it a general or not, or how many? I don't know. No, in Russian media there is no specific information on that matter, and therefore I cannot speculate on that. I don't know, but it is highly likely. It is a possibility, for sure. Nidish Kumar is commenting, what is your opinion on Putin's idea of having BRICS parliament? Well, this idea was somewhat surprising to me, really, because we all see EU, isn't it? EU is a quite dysfunctional organization that hated by many, and I don't want BRICS to start looking like European Union. That would be a mistake to go that direction. In other hand, Parliament is a democratic institution, isn't it? Parliament is clearly a democratic institution when all sides have representatives and they can debate and they can argue when necessary, defend their national interests. So, in one hand, Parliament is a good idea. But in other hand, more bureaucracy, I don't really like bureaucracy that much. I don't like bureaucracy at all, by the way. I understand it's necessary, but I don't know. Let's see how this idea of parliament will work out. Hopefully, BRICS will not BRICS will take in account mistakes that was made by EU during the creation of this organization, and hopefully BRICS will be a successful story of their cooperation of the countries worldwide. Because Parliament itself, it's good, isn't it? It's a democratic institution, so why should anybody be against it? But yet again, in my opinion, BRICS member states should make sure that that interests of all member states are taken in account, and there is no dominant forces. Because today we may talk about Parliament, tomorrow some other institutions that will start making decisions or maybe even forcing decisions upon other countries, which is not the way BRICS should go, in my personal opinion. BRICS should be about maintenance of the independence, sovereignty, national identity, and all that good stuff, while simultaneously encouraging cooperation between the countries when interests of all countries, big and small, are taken in account. So, let's see how things work out. I guess leaders of the BRICS member states will definitely take in account experience of the EU, and they will try to avoid mistakes that EU made, for which more and more people in Europe are becoming Eurosceptics and are have no respect for Brussels bureaucrats at all. Maria Palmer is commenting exactly on that topic, that EU is a joke. EU Parliament is not democratic. So yes, I agree with her, Maria. EU is criticized very much by EU member state citizens because they are not happy with it. Brussels are taking rights of the citizens of the member states. Brussels is taking sovereign rights of the states themselves, and understandably many people are not happy with it. And also, by the way, globalists are pushing this narrative when they want everybody to become some sort of gray mass without identity, without history, culture, anything, while BRICS should be exactly the opposite of that. So we should not just maintain our identity, but we should further build up on our traditions and culture and be respectful to our history and to history and culture of other countries, other nations. That's the way forward, I believe, through respect only. While Brussels is pushing this narrative that everybody should become some sort of gray mass, because I guess they think it's easier to rule with the gray mass, Levan, did you watch movie T-34? Did end love it. I watched a movie about T-34, but when Russian soldiers are ending up in there is several movies on when where T-34's legendary World War II era tank is playing a significant part, and there is a movie when Russian crew of tank crew is in a prison in Germany. They were captured, and they are escaping on a T-34 from this concentration camp. I watched that movie. It has quite good special effects and stuff. Nice movie. You know, you can watch it and just take a break for hour and a half, 2 hours. But there is another movie about development of the T-34 tank, and unfortunately I did not watch that movie. I'm going to do, but unfortunately I have not watched that movie yet. Nidish Kumar is commenting. He said 25 members of parliament from each country's parliaments. Yes, I mean, yet again, idea of parliament sounds good to me. If it's all about democracy, if it's all about respect of interests of their all member states, big and small, no matter, all states should be respected, and the rights and interests should be protected. In that case, I mean, okay, let's do parliament. This is the next level of integration. I mean, this is a huge jump in terms of integration, processes in the EU, in the BRICS, sorry. But yet again, I mean, let's hope mistakes would not be made that EU conducted during this process of integration. Let's hope on that. But idea of parliament is, I mean, it's idea itself is good. I mean, why not? Isn't it? Carlos Gaspar is commenting. Look what happens to the UN. Yes, I mean, UN is like discussion club at this point. UN is unable to do anything really, and I think this I mean, UN had to undergo some huge reforms. Maybe permanent this institution of the permanent members should be dissolved, or maybe more countries should become permanent members. At least major economical political powers in the different regions, because I don't get why India should not be member of the permanent member of the Security Council, for example. I mean, what the hell? India have to be permanent member, isn't it? I mean, it's just so obvious. Let's say, why South Africa is not a member of the permanent member of the UN Security Council? Why Brazil is not a permanent member? Why? Yes, UN was created after Second World War, and yes, winning countries created this institution. But times are changing, and UN should adapt, isn't it? So, you know. And dear friends, let me check. Oh, on Boosty, I have one more free subscriber. Only 6 Patreons, only 6 paid subscribers on Boosty. Anyway, let's continue, dear friends. Let's continue, and Michael Kennedy is commenting. George Galloway's party got 0 coverage from MSM. Oh, that's sad, man. It's sad that George Galloway not gonna be in the parliament. it's unfortunate. And well, am I surprised that MSM did not pay any attention to his campaign? No. And if there was any reports or articles about George Galloway, probably from negative prism, because that's what MSM does, isn't it? So it is unfortunate. George Galloway will definitely bring some, real debate to the parliament in UK. At least there will be 5 or 6 independent candidates, if I remember correctly, and Farage will be in parliament, and he will have several members of his party. So, I mean, I can understand that they will not be able to influence decision-making process in the Parliament of UK, but at least they can use their opportunity, being MPs in UK Parliament, to spread the word. And who knows, maybe next time independents and alternative political parties will gain more popularity, although it's not going to be easy, by the way. UK's political system, I was watching recently, I watch Alexander Mercouris' updates on regular basis, host of Duran Show, of course, and just recently he was explaining how political system is working in UK, and it's very complicated, by the way, and it's almost impossible for a newcomer parties to really get huge victories in parliamentary elections. It's just not happening. It will take a very, very long time. So Michael Kennedy is commenting, George speaks the truth. It would have been good to have him supporting Farage on the key issues. Absolutely. It's a shame that he is not in the parliament. He is a extremely principled man, and the parliament, British Parliament, gonna lose on that, on his absence. I mean, clearly, you may agree with some of his positions, you may disagree with some of his positions, but you cannot argue that he is a very principled man, and his presence in the parliament would be plus. But I'm surprised. I don't get how he lost for just like 300 or 400 votes, isn't it? I just don't get it. But yes, Michael Kennedy is commenting. Reform Party should have 50 seats, not 5. Yes, but system is such that these new parties just, have no chance really to achieve much success, even if they will receive huge number of votes. That's the surprising part of it, But dear friends, then I shared this. It's already 1.5 hours. Then I shared this video. Did you see how Fab 3000s are flying? Let's watch it together. Huge bombs, of course. And well, once they are dropped, it turns. Then wings are deployed, and yes, just look. They can fly for tens of kilometers, and then explosion. I believe this is first time Russian Defense Ministry share video of dropping of these Fab 3000s. So massive bombs. Then I shared, of course, link to my first update today. And by the way, interesting news that US Department of Homeland Security has in recent weeks refused former US leader Donald Trump's security detail to enhance his security from the Secret Service. This was reported by the Federalist magazine, citing an unnamed representatives of Trump's security. So if it's true, by the way, also question is rising, why? Why security detail was not enhanced? When Trump obviously is under high risk and probably receiving death threats on daily basis. I mean, too many questions, by the way, too many questions, you know. And this video is video confirmation of destruction of IRIS-T air defense system. It's IRIS-T, isn't it? Yes, IRIS-T. It was located by Russian military intelligence, and then let's watch it again. Then Iskander missile, tactical missile, was launched towards this position with a cluster munition warhead, and yes, IRIS-T battery air defense system was clearly destroyed. I mean, there is no way that air defense system would be able to operate after such a strike. Also, by the way, interesting news that I was expect to hear some 2 or 3 weeks ago, if not more, but finally we have a confirmation that Urozhaina settlement is under full Russian control now, and Urozhaina is of course on Vremevsky salient area, right next to Staromayorskaya. So I mean, this is Urozhaina, by the way. So this is Staromayorskaya that was liberated by Russian forces some few weeks ago, and I was expecting Urozhaina to become liberated also soon, a few weeks ago, but of course Russian militaries had to take time. They know better when to do and what to do, what is necessary, and we have this report today that Urozhaina is under full Russian control over the Vremevsky salient, and I guess next hotspot on this direction will be Makarovka, Blagodatnaya settlements, these two settlements, and well, let's see. I think it will not take long before Russian troops will regain control over the entire Vremevsky salient, which was the only area where Kiev regime had these local scale successes during this 2023 counteroffensive, highly expected counteroffensive that was end up being total disaster for the Kiev regime. All they manage is to establish control over the few settlements on Vremevsky salient and Rabotina in Zaporozhye direction. That's it. And they lost up to 90,000 military personnel during that operation, and there are thousands of pieces of military equipment. And that counteroffensive was prepared by NATO, by the way, by NATO generals. So Urozhaina is under Russian control. Then I shared information about progress of special military operation. Also, I shared some videos about Russian strikes. This is New York. In DPR, Russian FAB strikes. It's an industrial area of the New York, I believe. And also, by the way, next video is also strikes, Russian airstrikes. This is right bank of the Kherson, of the Dnieper in Kherson direction. Also, by the way, information, many media outlets are reporting that Israeli army confirms the fact that Rafia Salama, the leader of the military wing of the radical Palestinian movement Hamas in the city of Khan Yunis, was killed as a result of the strike on the Gaza Strip. This was reported by Russian media, although one should notice that information about Rafia Salama was spread like quite a number of times. Israeli side claimed at least 5 or 7 times that they killed him, but he was alive. So who knows? Maybe claims of IDF are also not correct this time. Hard to tell. Hard to tell. Then I shared today's update from Alex Cristoforo. Oh, you should check. Many of you will watch, of course. He was making video around a beautiful area. It's a church and well, nice place. Update itself is very informative, interesting, and the area that you see in the video is also, I mean, great. You have to see it. Then, by the way, I shared this video of destruction of yet another tank of the Kyiv regime. And at some point, munition detonated after FPV drone strike, and well, you can see turret was as a result of explosion flown up to, I don't know, 20-30 meters in the air. I mean, huge explosion. Also, this short video about maritime exercises of the Russian and Chinese militaries, and yes, and then I shared information about live stream itself, and let's go through some questions, and I will end this update. Nidish Kumar is commenting, who are giving security for France during Olympics? I heard other countries' soldiers are deployed. Yes, today one of the members of our community commented, isn't it, that Qatar sent its militaries or police units, for example, to secure Olympics, and many other countries probably will also send their military, or maybe not military, police forces. Not military, but police forces, which is a little surprising, because France, it's a France after all. I mean, France should be able to protect Olympic venues on its own, but in any case, by the way, we are talking about security of their athletes and guests of the Olympics, ordinary people. So whatever level of support is necessary, of course, should be provided to France. This is the case when there can be no questions. Whatever is necessary to protect people on that event should be done, and if France needs support from other countries, this support should be provided. Jack Hudson is commenting, I know our beloved Alexander Mercury said yesterday he had to take off day for family. Can't wait for his view tomorrow. Yes, I mean, he's a leader, by the way. He and Alexander and Mercuris and Alex Cristoforo are leaders of this field, this segment of news and political commentary, geopolitical analytics, and they are inspiration for many, by the way. For many, they are very supportive of community, and it's quite a tiny community, really, of creators in this segment, and they are very supportive. I mean, if you remember, they invite me to the show when our community was only 10,000, and they invited me, and that was, of course, immense story for development of my channels, and for me, I mean, it was a fantastic opportunity, and I'm immensely grateful to them. And they are very supportive. As I said, man, they are inviting creators from small channels on regular basis, and they are great. I mean, they are objectively great. What I can say, you know, wonderful people, and they are on top of the game. They are on top of the game, and also I will mention Brian Berlitix. He is also on top of their game, of course. They are little different. I mean, they are big time different. I mean, Duran is a different type of show. And Alexander and Alex have their own shows, of course, their own channels also, personal channels. Work ethics of these people are just unbelievable, man. How they are managing to do so much stuff, man. It's unbelievable. And Brian Berletic may have a little different style, but he's also on top of the game, by the way. Great channel. Very informative, and we can learn a lot by listening to these great experts. Nidish Kumar is commenting, does any country have the profits earned after conducting Olympics? All countries who hosted it went down hell economically. Well, that's a good question, isn't it, Nidish? Usually, Olympics cost tens of billions to organize because these new venues have to be built and this to be done and that, and the infrastructure should be built from scratch or be renovated. It's a very costly event. It's a very prestigious event. And maybe that's why countries are queuing in for the opportunity to host the Olympics. But on the other hand, you are absolutely correct. Those Olympics never pay off for its investments. And it's a very rare occasions when these Olympic villages and all the infrastructure that was built are in use after Olympics. Quite often, those places then are forgotten. You know, so it's more like advertise for nation. It's an investment in nation advertising. It's a prestigious event, used to be at least, by the way. But now, when Olympics are just immensely politicized, I expect view numbers to be record low on these Olympics in France. But at least decades ago, Olympics was a big deal because, first of all, because it's advertising for the country, and that's why many states were willing to invest, even though they knew perfectly well these investments in financial terms, in economical terms, will maybe never pay off. So I don't know. It's you know. So some may argue that advertised costs more and advertised benefits more countries, and maybe that's the case. I don't know. I don't think France needs any advertising, really. It's a wonderful country, wonderful nation, so much places to go and visit, and it's beautiful. I mean, who can argue with that? I don't think France needed Olympics to advertise itself. So therefore, in case of France, for example, will these investments of, I don't know how much they spend, but probably tens of billions of euros, will these investments will ever pay off? I don't know if they will clean up Thames. Well, that will be at least some good result of that, but I'm kind of quite skeptical that they be able to clean up the Thames. Let's see. Yes, maybe soft power boost. Yes, that's also a way, to look at this. I agree with you. And dear friends, wow, Manu is commenting. It's 30 billion, by the way, that was spent officially. Wow, thank you for information. I mean, what you're gonna say, 30 billion, by the way. It's a bit too much for advertising, especially for a country that don't needs any advertising at all. But yet again, maybe it's, as Nidish highlighted, it's maybe soft power boost, maybe some other topics also. After all, man, if they will clean up Thames, and if they will improve infrastructure that then will be used by public, I mean, it's already some benefits for the people, right? So, I mean, why not? But 30 billions, man, for Paris, that is already, I mean, one of the top cities in the world. I mean, it seems too much. to me. Russian Winter Olympic cost from 30 to 50 billion, isn't it? But there, by the way, entire villages in venues have to be built from the scratch. And surprisingly, those venues are working, by the way. And Krasnaya Polyana resort is very popular. So maybe Russian Olympics was, exception from the usual rule when these Olympic venues are not really used that much after Olympics. Here, this Krasnaya Polyana is very popular ski resort, and all these sporting venues, they are busy as far as I know. So that's something good. There can be exceptions, but in Paris, by the way, I don't know what they built from scratch. Probably they did something, but still 30 billion, it's quite a lot of money. Anyways, dear friends, I have to end this video. Now, I guess football already started, final of the Euro. It's England versus Spain, isn't it? So let's see. I don't have favorites from this tour. I will support good football, fair play game, and well, good luck to both teams. I'm quite sure they're gonna show great football, by the way. Obviously, they are leading teams in this world. So, dear friends, if I may, I will end this. Let me check once again to make sure I don't miss nothing. So yes, if I may, I will end this live stream. Thank you very much for your attention, for your comments, for this conversation, and many thanks to all the members of our community who will watch this video in recording later on. Have a great day.